And just like that, no undefeated teams remain in the 2022 NFL season. All it took to defeat the mighty Philadelphia Eagles was a run-in with the Washington Commanders. And maybe a run-in with the NFL Live curse. I mean, I don't want to make it about us. We did all pick the Eagles. Whoops. RC, you would have picked them too, even though you weren't here yet.
I picked them in the morning.
That's right.
It made me think it was real.
I know.
It really did. This was the one that made me think it was real.
I had gotten over it. Now I'm a little worried. That's Marcus Spears. That's Dan Orlovsky. Dan thinks it's real, too. Mina Kimes is going to join us in a bit for a special conversation about a league-defining trend that you do not want to miss. We got the Green Boys over here, Money Green. But first, let's go back to Monday Night Football and tell you all about it.
Blue.
Jalen Hurts trying to remain undefeated at home, hosting the Commanders. Start of the fourth quarter, Eagles trailed 23-14. Hurts finding Devontae Smith.
Yeah, really good job of realizing pressure, giving it to Devontae where the chance where he could turn and catch run.
They're making a comeback. The deficit now 23-21, under 10 minutes to play. Hurts the short pass to Dallas Goedert, but he's hit from behind. The ball comes loose. The
Might be a face mask.
They think they have a touchdown. Guys, look at this, though. What would you see here, Dan?
Well, a really good job on the Washington defense. First of all, retracing. That's not might be a face mask. It is. Missed call by the officials, but credit Washington. They chased after the football.
So the Commanders would convert the turnover into a field goal lead, 26-21. Under 6 minutes to go now. Eagles still trailing. Hurts wanting to go deep, connecting with Quez Watkins, making the diving catch, and Watkins gets up to run. But once again, the Commanders forcing these plays to happen, a huge swing in momentum as turnovers haunting the Eagles in this game. 1:45 to play, 37 for Washington. Taylor Heineke feeling the pressure coming, gives himself up. But Brandon Graham comes in late with the hit. Unnecessary roughness, that was the call. It's an automatic first down for the Commanders. We'll see it again. Heineke taking the knee, giving himself up there. All right, nobody wants to talk about it. Let's see what Nick Sirianni had to say after this loss. The first of the year for the Eagles.
Like, whether the calls were bad or whether the calls were good or whatever it was, I think when you play the way we did tonight, and when you play the way we did on all three phases, you know, like offense, defense, special teams, coaching, right? When you play like that, it seems like everything's going against you. You create your own luck, and we played like crap, whether it was the right call or the wrong call. And so we made our own luck today, and it was bad.
All right, so Sirianni not making any excuses, played like crap. Marcus, how were the Commanders, though, able to hand the Eagles their first loss of the season?
Stuck to their identity. I think outside of Terry McLaurin, the best part of this team is their run game with Robinson and Gipp, and then third down conversions. And I think it gets lost sometimes because we've seen so many explosive offenses that we don't understand. We get enamored with the big third downs late in games. But I think into the third quarter, the Commanders were 10 for 13 on third down. And they put themselves in favorable positions outside of some penalties that they had that put them behind the chains. And then Heineke was able to make some throws and get them out of those situations. Yeah. The one thing, too, and I didn't have this earlier, Washington's effort. Like the way they played as a 4 and 5 football team, everything circling this team. You come in to Philly with an undefeated team, everything going there. Man, they played. The effort is the reason why some of those turnovers took place.
Yeah, I think the third down stuff you're speaking to is going to be a little bit more of a tentacle thing for the conversation we're about to have a little bit. You think what happened with Green Bay and Tampa Bay this weekend. Jordan Davis matters more than I ever anticipated for the Eagles defense. When he's on the field, they stop the run at 3.9 yards per carry. When he's not, it's 5.1. Wow. That's the difference between the third run defense and the 29th. Last night, Washington did a really nice job of attacking their front with pullers. You know, they got guys in motion, double kick out, whether it was in the gun. Robinson just got up inside. Marcus, that's like first down, now 4 or 5 yard carry, now I'm second and 6. Here comes another puller. Where's that motion? Kick out, a little counter. Robinson's got really good feel for like setting those pullers and getting up inside of them. The gap scheme stuff was really good. This time they'll pull the backside guard and the backside tackle. Motion, there you go. So set that motion, get people flowing one way, and get back inside the other way. I think the reason why Washington did it was it seemed like Philadelphia was really committed to run their 5-man front, and that's a little bit better of a scheme to attack that 5-man front, get the double teams and kickouts. It was really impressive the way that they attacked that 5-man grouping for Philly.
Well, I think when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, right, the sky could be falling. We were an undefeated team. We lost to a team that was below 500, but sometimes this is good. Firstly, I want to say it's very hard to win games in NFL, which is why Mercury Morris is popping the champagne, making whack raps right now, right? Because it's difficult to go undefeated. But you look at this game and you think about the fact that Washington did hustle and create those turnovers, but you feel like those things are fixable, right? A.J. Brown has the football, hit him right in his hands, and it pops into the defender's hands, and he makes a great play. So these are all things you're looking at and saying, okay, we can get in and work. The one thing you can't convince grown men of when they win is to feel like they lost. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to get on the finer, small, minute details of football when a guy feel like, man, we just keep winning. We just keep ending up in the right place. Now Nick Sirianni saying that they played like crap can go into the meeting today and say, we need to be better. We can be beaten at any time by anyone, and by not executing as we did last night, we were. If you want to win it all, we have to improve.
And maybe, to your point, this loss comes at a nice time in the season for them to really kind of get their focus back in.
That's what A.J. Brown said today. He was saying, I'm happy it happened.
I will say this real quickly. If the Washington Commanders play like that, that's a hard football team to beat.
Right.
Because they are physical at both of their lines.
I also don't think they can go to Carson Wentz. Tyler Heinicke is doing that job.
Yeah, he needs to be the guy.
Come on.
You said it, Dan.
No need to even say it. If they go back to Carson, I already told y'all, bro, if you want your backup to play really good, hire Carson Wentz.
I'm so proud.
I know.
Taylor Heinicke.
Or if you want the entire team to play really hard for the backup, apparently you need to get Carson Wentz.
This is not,
all right, some major news out of Philly this afternoon is Dallas Goedert expected to miss extended time after injuring his shoulder on a missed face mask call in the fourth quarter. Dan, how big a deal is this?
This is massive. We're talking about a top 5 dude at the position this year. I mean, he's having an all-pro caliber season, especially, I mean, he's on track 75 catches, 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And if we think about Philadelphia, 1, he's their best screen guy. 2, they are notorious for getting into that 3-by-0 formation. Trips to the field, him backside in that boundary, and every read, or more often than not, starts with him. Also in their zone read RPO game, that really does a good job at defining some of the stuff man or zone. So this is a massive, massive loss moving forward for Philadelphia.
Goddard ranks second among tight ends in receiving yards this season, trailing only Travis Kelce. To put in perspective how impactful he is for this team.
He real deal.
More injury news I want to get you guys' take on here. We start with Washington, where sources tell our Adam Schefter that Chase Young expected to be activated and play this week. Of course, Young returning from a torn ACL and MCL last November. Marcus, with this addition, vault Washington back into the wild card picture for you. You're telling us that people don't want to see the Commanders.
I believe it will. This defensive line has decided to play together. I was critical of them a year ago about playing too selfish and individualized. With Chase Young coming back, hopefully he's been able to take that time to see the game from a different perspective. And as long as he gets healthy, we know how dominant he can be off the edge. And he's a guy that you have to pay extra attention to. So John Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat jobs become easier because of him returning.
Man, that D-line. All right, to L.A. next, where wide receiver Cooper Kupp scheduled to undergo ankle surgery this week. Head coach Sean McVay says Kupp has been placed on IR, meaning he's going to miss a minimum of 4 weeks. Dan, does this officially end any hopes of a Rams playoff run?
Yeah, their season was done before this. They were getting that post-Super Bowl injury bug, similar to what Tampa Bay got last year. Let me be very clear. Matthew Stafford should not take another snap this season with Cooper Kupp out. There's no need to play him. They also lost 2 more offensive linemen today. That is 7 out of their starting or top 8 offensive linemen that are done for the season. Do not put that quarterback back there without that receiver.
That's too big of an investment. Interesting point. Bad news down in Miami this week as Dolphins defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah will need surgery to repair a torn tricep. The injury will put Ogbah out for the rest of the season. RC, how big a blow is this for this Dolphins
defense? I think it's a huge blow, but it's not as big of a blow when you have a guy like Bradley Chubb and you go out and make that acquisition at the trade deadline. But it is about depth, and Marcus understands this. When you look at the defensive line, it's about being able to run waves of guys at the offense and also having an opportunity to give guys spells so they can be the best at what they do in the most opportune time. When you look at his stats, he wasn't a guy that was lighting up the stat sheet, but he was someone who was steady, understood what his job was, and a player that could spell some of these stars on the all defensive line.
Yeah, especially fresh legs. You think about a playoff run and who they're going to have to go up against potentially.
Absolutely.
Probably more impactful than we initially thought. We're just getting started here on NFL Live, you guys. Bucs former coach Bruce Arians has a pretty eye-opening assessment of the team's recent turnaround. Wait till you hear how the GOAT Tom Brady fits into all of this. Plus, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers broke their losing streak with a win over Marcus's Cowboys Sunday, starring Swagoo. RC says they may have unpacked a new role for the reigning MVP. Okay, look at these fits, all right? So, RC, what did you like last night out of Philly? You got Jalen Hurts in the magenta on magenta, or Devontae Smith, the autumnal palette. What's doing it for you?
Hey, man, these boys are cutting up. Listen, I like them both. These are two dudes that been to the Heisman Finals. They understand the height of fashion. And when you show up at the game like this, though, guys, you can't lose. That's all I'm
They got that Christmas suit on, though.
You showed up main event ready, and you fought like you was on the undercard.
We are winning.
Christmas suit.
Hey, the Christmas suit is fresh, though.